Welcome to the presentation on deep dive ISO 20022 Swift messaging. In this presentation, we'll cover in detail the MX message flow from sender to the receiver. We'll consider all the Swift environments. We'll tell what are the timelines for the conversion. We'll also talk about the inflow translation module from MX to MT and MT to MX formats and MX to MX format. We'll also cover the transaction statuses that are sent by this Swift ISO 20022 message. We'll show a sample conversion of MT202 to the equivalent ISO 20022 format. We'll also cover the ACK NAK messages and the recipient messages in detail. So please watch this presentation till the end. We'll consider the test environment as the production environment wasn't live for the ISO 20022. When this presentation was being prepared, we'll show the timeline of conversion from MT to MX format in our further slides. We'll cover the sample MX message for equivalent for MT202. We have replaced the X for the sender and the receiver respectively as shown in the presentation. Now, various Swift environments. So we had two test environments. One is known as the production current and other is the production future. So they are represented by swift.fin plus exclamation PC. PC stands for production current and PF stands for production future. So as of March 2023, the swift.fin plus the future the production environment is going to be live. At this time of making this presentation, this production environment wasn't live. Only the test environments were live. This presentation slide talks about the timeline for conversion. So earliest time for conversion is 20th March 2023. And the final date for all the organizations to convert is 2025 of November. But during this period, you can coexist and you could have a MX as well as MT format. Now, you can convert to ISO 20022 formats, and there are like following cases which you might face. So supposing if MT format message sender is sending messages to a MX format recipient for transmission. So you could see this case which is mentioned on the slide. Similarly, you have a MX sender sending a message to a MT recipient. Swift inflow translation module in the center shows the conversion of sender client, which is compliant to FIN plus ISO 20022 format, to send a message to a recipient who is compliant with MX FIN plus format as well as a MT based compliant FIN format. So the FIN plus, so the inflow translation takes care of all this conversion, and the messages are received by the recipient clients in the format in which they want during this coexisting period, that is March 2020 till November 2020. Before we consider the structure of the message, we should probably know the translation status that are received from the Swift network when you transmit a MX message out on the Swift network. These are TROK, TRAK, TRNR, TRFR, and TRNK. So these descriptions, everything is described in this presentation slide. So please pause the video and have a look at it. Now we'll have a look at how a Swift message looks like in ISO 15022 format before we look at the MX ISO 20022 format. So if we look at the payments message which is displayed on the right hand side, we see that it's a MT202 message and it's a name value pair, wherein the sender BIC is CND US30, receiver BIC is REC US30, and the equivalent mapping for this empty message is PACS 009001008. Now the sample ISO 20022 message for the payments message is PACS.009.001.08, and it has a data DPU header, and in that header you have a header section as well as body section, and in the body section you have an application header as well as a document header. Next we have a look at the detailed body section. So we have an application header section in which you have a sender BIC, receiver BIC, unique ID as well as the type of the message that is transmitted for this ISO 20022, as well as the business service used and the date on which this message was created. The document block has more sections, that is the message ID, and I have highlighted everything for the empty message equivalent mapping in the yellow color, so you could have a look at it. So you can see the number of transactions, the statement account, the instruction ID, end-to-end ID, UETR, which was a unique ID. So everything is highlighted in yellow color, and you could see how an empty message could be mapped onto a MX message over here. Details about the interbank settlement amount and the debtor, crediting agent, crediting account agent, financial institution ID, and everything is mapped from empty format to the MX format. So the values which we saw in the empty format are now being mapped to the MX format. So all these tags in yellow color represent those values. Now we'll look at the ACK NAK message. The ACK NAK message, which is received from the Swift network for a equivalent ISO 20 or 22 message sent out, can be found out by looking at the ACK NAK section or the network delivery status section. So these are all highlighted in this slide. So now you must be wondering, when the message is transmitted to the recipient, how the message would look like. So this slide shows how the recipient would receive the message, and on his side he would see the message in the following format. So as you see that when we create a ISO equivalent message to be sent from the sender to the receiver, the header information is usually a number followed by This presentation slide shows the Swift Alliance Lite UI, in which we see that we have transmitted a PACS. In this slide, we see further tabs of the Swift Alliance Lite 2 UI, in which we can see the sender break and the receiver break. Those are grayed out for privacy concerns, and you see all the other details. So you also have a text block in which you can see the PACS message and all the history of the transmission, how it was transmitted out, and how ACK was. Acknowledgements to the Swift network and ISO standard organizations. So please do subscribe, like, and press the bell icon for further notifications on more presentations for ISO and Swift related for the financial organizations. Thank you for watching this presentation.